Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is Wednesday and it's in the middle week hump day, hump day, hump day. I don't know if
Yes.
it's an old thing now or what, but that was huge a couple years ago. We are going to continue our series because we had so much to talk about with the scary facts about things that we don't know about and things that are good to know about, things that are scary to know about. But some of them you think, oh my God, how come I didn't know that before? So we had some interesting ones last time, so we thought we would continue it. I'm going to start, Deb, but I want to say, how are you today?
I wanted to say, Laura, you know what? It's sunny and beautiful. It's still warm enough that you feel like it's still summer, even though I know it's not, but it's fall. It's gorgeous. But I just want to tell you that I learned a lot from this. And you found this topic. This was a great topic, a great find. And I think that um anybody again who sees this and you're listening and you have any other items you could share, always feel free to put stuff in the comments. But I hope that this is giving you guys some nuggets. Okay. So anyways, go ahead, Laura.
Yeah, the first one I want to talk to, and I learned this at a young age because I used to do a lot of cleaning around the house when I was like 12, 13 years old, and you don't know stuff. Don't mix bleach and ammonia together. It makes chlorine gas.
Mhm.
Okay. If you work on that kind of stuff and you think you're like sanitizing a toilet, mixing the two together, yeah, I mean, you could actually pass out from that. And so many people make mistakes in mixing the two together, thinking they're making a stronger sanitizer, but in the long run, it's just gas that could make you pass out and be very harmful for it. Have you ever had experience with that before, Deb?
No, but I have to tell you that my daughter Jessica has always been great with talking about that kind of stuff, about mixing different things. And sometimes I am like, oh, I didn't realize that. And I don't think I ever maybe did it, but I didn't realize it. So I think it's a really good point. I think
Yeah.
read everything and find out if you are like totally not sure. You can even call, what's that number for like the poisoning and all that stuff.
Oh,
For that. The something poison control, right? Poison control.
I'll get the information and put it
Ah,
on our Facebook page
think
because I
about
think
that.
it's a good number to have. And
Yeah.
if somebody even accidentally a child choose on paint or something, it'll tell
Right.
you what to do, all that kind of stuff that they, I can't think of the name right now. That's what happens when you turn old, when you turn
Well,
60.
yeah, there you go. Well, yeah, what are you gonna do?
Hey, Deb, you want to talk about the next one?
Hey, you know what? Here's the crazy thing. So yellow teeth and hygiene. Okay. So there are some people that have, well, there's different shades of teeth. Okay. Let's just face it. And some people have whiter
Yeah.
teeth than others. I do know people can go off the Richter scale and do too much whitening sometimes. You got to be careful, those whitening strips and all that kind of stuff. But the hygiene part of it, if you have yellow teeth, it doesn't mean you have bad hygiene because maybe your teeth are just shaded that way. Okay. So various things can affect that though. Okay. So like diet, environmental quality can turn your teeth yellow. Consuming certain foods, it could be, have you ever watched the kids that eat something like a blue icy and then all of a sudden their mouths are all blue? You know, that luckily goes away, but there are beverages and there's like tobacco and there's coffee, and so I don't get coffee out as often as I used to, just because I refuse to pay the money, right? But every once in a while I treat myself. I put a straw, you know, like even if it's hot, people are like, oh, hot, yeah, sure, I'll do it that way, you know. But that helps you to kind of bypass getting it right in there. But regular dental checkups and everything and cleaning can help you, and speak to your dentist. Of course, we've been pushing the dentist a lot lately. We've been talking to people because I think there's a lot of people that hate going to the dentist. But one of the things I started doing again, and I've been doing it again for about a week or two, is I've been doing the coconut oil pulling. Okay, I've been doing that again because I was thinking it can't hurt. Okay, so you do it when I put it in my mouth and I swish it around and leave it in my mouth while I'm taking my shower. And then I get cheap Dixie cups and just you got to spit it out and then put it into the garbage because that can't go down the drain. Because if it goes down the drain, you guys are gonna have a plumbing problem because it gets solidified again. Okay, so but anyways, I hope that helps, and I hope that tells you that you should just keep on top of that for sure, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And But you know what? Why we're talking about it, because you always have such nice white teeth. What do you use to keep your teeth white? And
You know what? I'm the coconut oil, but I don't feel like my teeth are that white like they used to be, really, you
well,
know?
I know they're
But
wrong.
yeah, but I will tell you though, the coconut oil, I've noticed a difference like immediately after, and I think that then other things probably stain again. So I'm sticking doing the coconut oil a lot more. Maybe
Yeah,
I
I
think of it, I might do it twice a day if I can. Certainly
yeah, that's
hurt,
good.
won't
Yeah,
hurt.
it does hurt, right.
Yeah.
You know, like you see a lot of these younger girls, like, well, your daughters and stuff, in their 20s and 30s, and they have these beautiful white teeth. I want, do you know what they're using?
Some
Why?
of these whiteners and stuff, I always tell them, and they have checked things out. You gotta check with the dentist to make sure that they're gonna be okay, that you're not wrecking the enamel on your teeth. Because it can happen, you know, and white teeth, of course, optimally, everybody wants the whitest teeth and the bright smiles and all that kind of stuff, but you gotta think about your teeth are, your teeth, and so,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, I just was just curious to know because I
Yeah.
always see these girls. All right, this is a good one here. Propaganda and bias. Okay. If you're immune to propaganda, okay, and you really get into this stuff, you got to watch the TV channels that you're watching, okay, because there might be some that are more biased than other ones are. You have to, and you know, we don't want choose to talk about politics on our Facebook platform, but I would say, you know, everybody's really into the politics now because of the way everything is going. And, you know, if you watch a news or you read news that's only for one side, you're not going to get the whole story. Okay. It's almost, it's gotten to the point like, remember the old game of telephone when
Uh,
one person tells you something and then you tell another person. And by the time it gets to the last person, it's all changed around.
right.
See, so you got to be really careful about what information you're getting
Mm.
and spreading because it could be totally wrong and it could totally hurt somebody. You know, I just give you one quick example. It's not propaganda, but it's the same thing I'm talking about. We were at a party and there was a situation that happened with somebody, and we happened to be there when the situation happened. It was at another place. And so this one person was saying to everybody at this party, oh, did you hear so and so did this? And we were like really quiet because we knew the real story. Here, this guy had a whole different story of how it happened and all that stuff. And these other people were like, oh, that shouldn't happen. And that person should have gotten in big trouble. But see, that's what happens. Things get different things. And the news media today looks for reaction from people.
Mm.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. Deb, do you have anything on that?
I have one thing I just want to say that I was talking about this yesterday, and it's kind of funny that this is one of the items on these different platforms. It doesn't matter what you're on, but there are catchy headlines that are not even the accurate information, and they
Right, right.
suck you in. They suck you in, and then when you get through all the way, then you realize that they turned it around somehow. And what the headline wasn't really. So if you're a headline reader and you don't read the rest of the verbiage in there, you're all of a sudden forming an opinion, and it's really not what it should be on, because the rest of the stuff underneath is controversy. I mean, it's just, there's a word I'd love to say, and it's a SHIT show sometimes. I'm telling you right now, that's
Yeah, right.
really is. So, anyways, but all right, here's one: OCD and cleanliness. Okay, OCD really has rarely anything to do with being clean, tidy, or orderly. That's kind of interesting, wouldn't you think? Okay, and I mean, I know Lori and I have people in our lives that have like tendencies to do this, but it's sometimes it's considered the way that OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, is a mental health condition categorized by unwanted, intrusive thoughts, obsessions, and repetitive behaviors or mental acts of compulsions. Okay. While some people with OCD may have cleaning or organizing compulsions, other people might have completely different symptoms. So here's the funny thing. a lot of people talk about that whole thing, and you can't label them or think and form an opinion. And also, they can't help that. You know, that's kind of a thing that they have. That's a personality kind of thing. There's some really good personality books out there. If you guys are struggling with personalities in your house, there's a book called Personality Plus by Florence Littauer, and it's kind of talks about people who are more OCD and people are more like, and some people can have a strength and a weakness. So I know we talked about that a long time ago. I think we did a
We
personality.
did, yeah, we did. I just want to say, you
Yeah.
know, they don't have to be really clean either. I heard they put hoarders in this kind of a category too. And just so you know, with a lot of these mental diseases and stuff like that, you know, we're not all sane people. And so, you know, there's a lot of people that are OCD that have made great strides in their lives. You could learn to live with these things. I think that 99% of it is, Debbie, is that a person that has different of these mental stuff, that they find out everything they can about it and learn to work with it. Okay, learn to work with it. And, you know, another situation I was just talking about yesterday too was my father was probably ADHD and OCD, and he was very good in business because he learned how to take chances. He didn't know what he had, but he learned what he had, he used it to his advantage.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's why he was so successful. So, you know, we don't all fit in that same box, you know, and I think the schools are starting to realize that and stuff.
Yeah, because people the expectation. And I also think that one thing that like we always do this disclaimer, and we always say this all the time that Lori and I are no, you know, no authorities. But I gotta tell you guys that if you're experiencing this or something like this, or you're having a family member, you know, there is so much help out there, support groups and
Right.
therapies, and there's things that people can do to help work them through what they're going through so that they don't feel like they're the odd man out or the oddball, that what's normal for them is okay, you know, and it's not like they should be like you were just mentioning with the schools. Lori and I are very tight with the school concepts because we both have school teacher, you know, children,
Right.
young adults, whatever, that are school teachers. And I mean, what they see and do, we hear all the time. And I mean,
Yes.
guys, when we were younger, think of it, Lori, people who had something going on, and OCD is the one that's the topic right here, but they would like be, people would like think there was something wrong with that person because they weren't like what they thought the norm.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. And
But
you
right.
know, it's so true with all that. A lot of those kids got in trouble a lot, you know. And in here it was just that they were just different, you know. And like I said, you have to learn how to work with these things. And there's a lot of stuff you could do, you know, if you have these issues
Yeah.
and stuff. All right, driving distance. The distance between you and a car. Okay, that's a really good, important thing, especially in the Chicago area, because the streets are crazy. People drive crazy, but you need to leave at least 3 seconds between you and another person. A vehicle and a half. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Some people say a vehicle. I say a vehicle and a half. Somebody I know just got in a major car accident, and he said he couldn't, his brakes wouldn't stop, and he hit the person in front of him. And I think if he had a distance between him, he would have had that issue. And right now with construction on the road, make sure that you are really leaving space, because they're making them down to one lane and stuff, and you don't want to be behind somebody's butt and
Right.
stuff. But you never know what emergencies or anything like that. I've never been hit from behind, but I've hit somebody from behind. So
both. I've done both.
yeah.
Both, I should say.
You have anything
I
good
wanna
to
be proud, not that I want to be proud of it, guys.
Yeah, right, right.
No, that was good, and it's true, and you got to think about that. You know what I mean? Especially any of you that have to take your driver's test, written test, or
Right.
study up before you go, make sure you don't get
Right.
anything wrong. And then do the appropriate thing. Okay,
Yeah,
spontaneous combustion of rugs or rags, I'm sorry, rags. You know what? I know someone who had this happen. Okay, so
really.
Jessica's, yeah, I gotta tell you something. So it says rags soaked with paint thinner, varnish, oil-based paint, polyurethane, and other volatile oils can actually spontaneously combust without any ignited source. So it happened to someone who was doing a remodel job, and they had put something that was of this source into a garbage can, and it caught on fire, and the fire went into the house. And they had to literally move in with their parents. It was a young couple, and luckily no one was hurt. And it just,
Yeah,
but I know that anybody who's a painter, anybody who's working with varnishing and all that kind of stuff, they have to be so incredibly careful. More than likely, they take these things away from the job sites, but it's also they have to be careful not to have them in their trucks. So there's a lot that goes on with that. So when in doubt, always check.
yeah. Well, that's why a lot of garages start on fire
Yeah.
because of this, because people have stuff like that stored in their garages, because they're working on stuff and they don't realize it. So,
Yeah, I guess
that's a really good one for people to know. I really didn't know that. So it's really interesting.
yeah,
It says here, store used rags in well-ventilated area or a sealed water-filled container.
which makes sense totally. But
Mhm.
in the heat of the moment of stuff when people are busy and they don't think, it's that one fast thing. So this was a really good one to have on here.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, Laura, go ahead. You got
Yeah, missing persons report. I was really curious about this, but only because it didn't. And these are things I really didn't know. It says there's no minimum time to wait to file a missing persons report. I thought it was always like 24 hours or whatever.
Okay, I thought that too. Yeah.
So, but you might want to find out in your area. It's a good thing to know. You know your person better than the police, even if they tell you to wait, file one anyway. There's nothing like a mother's instinct or dad's instinct, or I always get premonitions of stuff and I go by what I feel. The sooner you file a report, the sooner the police could start going after or trying to find the person and stuff. Make sure you have a recent photo, you have a good description of what they were wearing. I'm sure most of us know that from TV shows that we watch on that kind of stuff. Hopefully that won't happen for you or your family, but you know what? Let's talk about pets. Because I live in an area and I'm on that neighborhood thing where you know what's going on in your neighborhood. You on that too?
Neighbor, next door
Yeah.
neighbor.
Yeah, next door neighbor, it's called. And we're always having animals. I mean, cats and dogs missing constantly. And it's great when these people could put it up right away on that page because everybody gets it that belongs to it. And you're able to see the animal. Maybe you've seen it. And I know they find a lot of animals that way. So that's the whole thing too. Missing report of your animal. Man, get on it right away.
You know what else too, Lori? This is another one, and I've noticed this quite often. And I love when people are engaged with saying, yes, we'll keep an eye out. And then the person lets the people know that, yes, we did find the family member. But older aging people with dementia and things like that. I had a neighbor who had a father who used to stay with them. And he one day walked out the door and said, I'm going to go to Jewel. And he wasn't even thinking. He thought Jewel was 2 blocks down the street, where Jewel was really like a mile. And
Right.
walking, and he didn't know where he was, and all that stuff. And so I've noticed that lately, and so it's such a good source. But I'm
Mhm.
glad to hear that you could, because I was under the assumption of the 24-hour thing too. So
Yeah. Yeah. And the next one is geographical differences. The difference between a continent, a country, province/state, and city. This is important. And I'm speaking to the younger generation because I don't think they know a lot of these things. I don't know if they study much of that in school anymore. Do you think so?
I think they may, but I don't think it's like we did. I don't think they focus on it.
Yeah, they focus more on, stuff on the GPS and stuff that they learn on the computer, but the fundamentals geographical knowledge is that many people often are confused. A continent is a large landmass. A country is a nation with its own government. A province slash state is a region within the country, and a city is a large town or an urban area. Knowing the difference is very important, so geographically global politics. So that's basically it. All right, Deb, you ready with the next one?
Sure. Here's one: cleaning blood stains out of fabric, even the whitest clothes or bed sheets. It says salt will do it. I never knew salt.
Yeah,
I always go for Oxy, that stuff that
yeah,
and I get the powdered form and then I use that. Or one that I've always known of, which is safe to put together, is baking soda and vinegar. And that tends to like do that. But salt, I'm gonna keep that in mind if necessary. We're hoping that it says you're supposed to rinse the fabric in cold water and then make a paste and then rub it in there and work it in and then repeat if necessary. So I will try that on. Hopefully we won't be seeing any blood in clothes, but whatever. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
and going into the next one, listen, this is interesting. Nosebleeds. A lot of people freak out over nosebleeds, but they can be very common. But you got to understand why one happened, and then you also got to understand, how to handle it and stuff. So, people, here's what it says: understand that people are different. What's obvious to one might not be obvious to another. It's a crucial aspect of effective communication and empathy. So I don't understand how they're going into this kind of. Do you understand the way they're like, this is interesting?
yeah. I don't understand it either.
Well, I will tell you that you should keep your head up. I know that.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
do know that you shouldn't freak out over a nosebleed because dryness can cause a nosebleed.
yeah,
But if it's a continual thing and it's happening quite often, then you definitely should research it out and get it checked, because I think
yeah. Like for example, when I was a little kid, I once hit my nose on something and
yeah,
it would not stop bleeding for like weeks. I mean, it was terrible. Well, they brought me in to the doctor's office and they cauterized it.
yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, that's the only thing I know about that. But I don't understand about this respecting others about it. Maybe thinking they got punched in the nose or something. I don't know.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. Well, and so guys, just so you know, Lori and I, we pull up this interesting information and it's like documented and they're facts and they come off of like, we get it off of different sites and stuff and we find good information and, this for whatever reason is a little jumbled, but who knows?
Yeah, right. But yeah. So
Talk
I don't have the last one. Do you?
No, I
It's it.
don't. No, so I think that
That was it. But you know what, guys? I hope that you really enjoy this because we did. We learned a lot of different things.
yeah.
And this is tidbits you could pass on to other people and stuff like that. But Deb, you want to close us out a little bit here?
Sure. I was just gonna say, guys, like as usual, we're having so much fun. We love doing this. We are like passionate about it, and that we're growing, and we are, and we love it. And I tell you what, when we hear somebody says, "Oh, I really loved what you talked about," we love that. So if you've got any thoughts or ideas that you want us to like, hey, here's a good subject. Can you guys cover this? Can you find out? Can you investigate? That's what we do. Investigate, try to find stuff out. The other thing I just want to say quickly is that we have been working on some great guests to interview. And if you've got anybody or if you yourself have something you'd like to share, reach out to us. We would love to hear about it. And we'd love to share your whatever it is, your time, your talent, your whatever
Right.
you're good at or you're knowledgeable of or whatever. And so with that, Laura, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay, sounds great. You guys have a great week and we will see you next week. Take care. Enjoy the fall. And I'm Lori,
I'm Debbie.
and we're Friends Helping Friends. Take care now. Bye bye.
Here.